4 years ago, Minnesota elected Dave Durenberger our senator. Let's look at just part of what he's done. Dave Durenberger successfully fought to help small businesses create new jobs, to strengthen our Social Security system, to help keep family farms and businesses intact, and to protect Minnesota's natural beauty. The Durenberger record is why local officials named him Legislator of the Year. Dave Durenberger, the senator, a leader we know and trust. Senator Dave Durenberger.
My basic promise to the people of my state is that they could trust me. And they could trust me to stay in touch with them, and they could trust me to reflect their best judgment. And that is exactly what I've done. My family, and I've made a commitment to stay in touch with my constituency as long as I'm a United States Senator. And I've reflected their judgment in everything that I've done as a United States Senator.
Dave Durenberger, the senator, a leader we know and trust. Functionally blinded by a devastating eye disease, Bill Ulrich applied to Social Security for help, but they turned him away.
You don't know where to go or where to turn. And you can't work. I didn't want to go on welfare. These were my main worries, is how am I going to take care of my wife and my young daughter? Senator Durenberger was there when I needed him. He listened to me, and he didn't know me. I really don't know what I would have done without his help.
Dave Durenberger. After coronary bypass surgery, Bill Stafford suffered first a heart attack and then a stroke, which resulted in partial loss of vision.
Bill is disabled. He can't work.
We applied for Social Security, and we were automatically turned down.
The Staffords went to Senator Dave Durenberger for help.
We saw Senator Durenberger, and things very definitely began to happen.
It rekindles a fire in a man's heart. Dave Durenberger reinstilled our faith in the Social Security program.
Alone now after 50 years of marriage, Mrs. Marvel Anderson needed help applying for her retirement benefits. She turned to Senator Dave Durenberger.
I had no income for my own. I had to use our savings, and that went down pretty fast. After contacting Senator Durenberger, everything was straightened out. That's why I have such a deep appreciation for Senator Durenberger's help. It meant a lot to me.
Dave Durenberger, the senator. It took Ronald Holloway 20 years of hard work to pay off his student loan. He finally did it, but the government lost his last payment. He asked Dave Durenberger for help.
The government started sending me a lot of heavy dunning letters, calling my job, calling me at home. The only way I was able to get this resolved was by going to Senator Durenberger. Since Senator Durenberger got involved, I feel about 20 years younger.
Dave Durenberger.
Is there anything that I can help you with, or anything you're concerned about? Art Johnson. Yeah.
As our senator, Dave Durenberger's first concern is people, like people on Social Security.
It's not only American tradition, but it's something that people have earned, and they have a right to have it. As far as I'm concerned, they're going to have Social Security as long as I'm a United States Senator.
Dave Durenberger, the senator, a leader we know and trust.
The difference between Senator Durenberger and Mark Dayton is that Senator Durenberger has the experience to do what Minnesota needs him to do.
Mark Dayton is exaggerating a lot of things, but mostly his experience to be a U.S. Senator.
People are getting tired of seeing Mark Dayton on television.
Mark Dayton is misleading the people dreadfully.
I have tremendous respect for Dave Durenberger's experience and his judgment. Those are things money can't buy.
To elect Mark Dayton today would be to throw all of the work that Dave Durenberger has done in the past 4 years away.
Mark Dayton is trying to buy the election, and we here in Minnesota just don't buy that.
He's spending his own money like it's nothing. What's he going to do with the tax dollar?
We need a senator who knows the ropes, who has the respect of his colleagues in Washington, and cares deeply about his constituents at home. And that's Dave Durenberger.
There's a verse in the New Testament which says, "What we sow, also shall we reap." Well, for 20 years in this country, government sowed high spending, high taxes, and high inflation. It wasn't partisan. Both Democrats and Republicans did it. Now, we've succeeded in bringing high inflation and most of its causes under control. But we're still reaping the terrible pain of people out of work. My job in the Senate isn't done until every Minnesotan who wants a job can get one. That's why I need your support. People ask me what I think of Mark Dayton. I don't know him well, but he seems sincere about his beliefs. He put together a collection of old federal programs that he calls the Minnesota Agenda, which, on the surface, appears to have something in it for everyone. But what Mark doesn't say, or maybe doesn't even know, is that those programs will double the federal deficit. And it's the federal deficit that causes high interest rates, which makes it impossible for business to create more jobs. And it's jobs that are needed here, not more big government. You know, most of us have never lived through tough economic times like the past few years. Our parents did, and you know what they did about it. They stood firm, stuck together, and shared a belief in a better America. And that's what we need to do right now. 2 years ago, the economy was out of control. Since then, we've cut inflation and lowered interest rates. But our job's not done. As long as one Minnesotan is out of work, that's one too many. I need your support to finish the job.
Re-elect Senator Dave Durenberger.
Mark Dayton is spending millions of dollars of his own money trying to defeat Senator Dave Durenberger. Dayton has a right to spend his money any way he wants to. But Dayton also has something he calls the Minnesota Agenda. That's a collection of old federal programs which, if actually passed, would double the federal deficit. That's right. Dayton's programs would double the federal deficit. Mark Dayton has a right to spend his money any way he wants. The real question is, how would he spend our money?
Dave Durenberger does care, and he shows it in so many, many ways.
Dave Durenberger has come through so many times for Minnesota.
Dave really listens to Minnesotans, and he acts in their interests.
I've found that David Durenberger is a person that I can trust.
He keeps in touch with the people of Minnesota and knows what their needs are.
David is probably one of the best senators or legislators that we've ever seen.
When Senator Dave Durenberger says that he's going to do something, he does it.
Dave Durenberger is just great.
Promises or performance? That's the choice Minnesota faces this year. Listen to what news organizations are saying about Dave Durenberger's record of performance in the Senate. Durenberger has emerged as a thoughtful, moderate Republican and senator of skill and character. Durenberger has demonstrated courage in elevating personal principles above party politics. Durenberger's strong and independent record in Washington merits the continuing support of Minnesota voters. Re-elect Senator Dave Durenberger, a leader we know and trust.
4 years ago, you elected me to represent you in the United States Senate. I promised to stay in touch with you, that I'd represent your views, and above all, that I'd be myself. And I've lived up to those promises. I've supported the president when he was right, and I've fought for better alternatives when he was wrong. That kind of independence means an effective senator for Minnesota, a person who can work with the White House and both Democrats and Republicans to get things done. Proven performance or promises. That's the choice, and that's why I need your vote. When you vote for U.S. Senator, I hope you'll keep in mind the things that have always been important to us. We Minnesotans want good government, not expensive government. We can't go back to the out-of-control inflation and interest rates we had just 2 years ago. But good government is also compassionate government. We need to put people back to work, not by spending billions on programs that won't create a new job for years. We need people back to work now. That's the goal we all share, and that's why I need your support. You can't pretend to be something you're not in the United States Senate. You don't always know today what the issues will be during the next 6 years. And when the tough votes come, you can't rely on a slogan or a promise. You need to reach back to lessons learned in life. I've brought 25 years of experience as a Minnesotan to every vote I've cast in the Senate, and that's made a difference. It's the difference between proven performance and uncertain promises. That's the choice in this election, and that's why I need your vote.
Have you taken a close look at Mark Dayton's proposals? Dayton's commercials advocate increased federal spending in 41 specific programs. When pressed for the cost of his agenda, Dayton says he doesn't know. But according to official government figures, the cost of Dayton's agenda is $241 billion. Dayton recommends cutting home interest deductions to pay for it. Or if individual income taxes are raised to pay for Dayton's agenda, those taxes will go up 54.8%. Think about that before you vote. Listen to what newspapers all across Minnesota say in endorsing Dave Durenberger for re-election. Durenberger has been a good senator. He has the potential of becoming a great one. Durenberger's voting also shows thoughtfulness and independence. Durenberger has been extraordinarily effective. Depth, thoughtfulness, and a reasonable approach to the issues are all Durenberger trademarks. Durenberger's strong and independent record in Washington merits the continuing support of Minnesota voters. Re-elect Senator Dave Durenberger.
Unemployment is crippling our lives and our livelihoods. Mark Dayton knows that because he's been traveling throughout Minnesota for 16 months, hearing people call for help and jobs. Listen.
I think the poor, the working poor, and the common ordinary person are suffering.
Young people can't find jobs. People getting close to retirement are afraid to let their job go.
I don't even see retirement anymore, you know. I see myself as having to work till I drop.
And we have an administration that's continually ignoring us.
They want you to leave the state and relocate.
Looks like I'm gonna have to stay in Minnesota and starve because we tried moving one time and it didn't work, and we had to move back.
I'm just scared.
These issues, I'm hearing this all over this state, that people are hurting, that people are out of work, that people want to work. We can change that. We can change that if we have a new kind of economic policy, a policy that works for Minnesota, a policy that's committed to putting people back to work.
Unemployment is crippling our lives and our livelihoods. Mark Dayton knows that because he's been traveling throughout Minnesota for 16 months, hearing people call for help and jobs. Listen.
I don't have an opportunity. Even if I wanted to go to work, it isn't there.
You don't just go out and buy. I mean, even if it's food, you think about it first.
It doesn't look good for the average person who works all his life and pays taxes. So our government really doesn't care. And we have to have people in there who really care for the people of Minnesota.
I'm an apprentice electrician, and I can't get another job. I'd have to start all over. I don't know what I'm going to do.
It's just hard.
From Austin to Chisholm, people are hurting, and something has to be done about it. Listen to Mark Dayton.
One, to bring the Minnesota economy back, we have to bring down interest rates, balance the federal budget, and target tax relief to companies that are creating new jobs in our state, and change national energy policy to make energy affordable for states like Minnesota.
I probably would still eat, but everything else is getting so high. The cost of trying to stay well is rather difficult for an old-timer like me.
Our senior citizens are caught in a daily struggle to pay for the most basic things in life. They simply cannot survive cutbacks in Social Security, Medicaid, or Medicare. Mark Dayton knows that because he's been traveling throughout Minnesota for 16 months, hearing our elderly call for help and understanding. Listen.
There's lots of things that Medicare, in my case, doesn't cover.
Things are too expensive now. It eats up everything you've got.
And there isn't very much place you can cut down on unless it's clothes or food.
I don't know where it's all going to end.
Minnesota's senior citizens need a strong new voice in Washington. Mark Dayton.
You stress that plant or you stress that animal, it does not produce. You stress a human being, And you stress a farmer, he cannot produce like he should.
When our farmers are in trouble, our state is in trouble. Mark Dayton knows that because he's been traveling throughout Minnesota for 16 months, hearing our farmers call for help. Listen.
They talk about a recession. It's a depression we're in. Many farmers are lucky if they can pay their interest.
There's no way to pay. There's no way to increase production.
I think the fear is really in us, and I've never seen that before.
I don't see that Minnesota has a voice. No one's representing us, the American farmer, from our state in the Senate.
And I don't think we're getting a fair shake on this.
Our farmers are caught between unfair prices and high interest rates. Something has to be done. Listen to Mark Dayton.
My plan for Minnesota agriculture is fair profits for Minnesota farmers, lowering interest rates by balancing the federal budget. I think if we do that, we have a chance to move this state's economy forward again.
Senior citizens live in constant fear of cutbacks in Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Mark Dayton knows that because he's been traveling throughout Minnesota for 16 months, hearing our elderly call for help and understanding. Listen.
And I get so little. I'm not ashamed of it. I get $284 a month. And if they cut that down and they cut down Medicare and Medicaid, I don't know where I'll go.
We're just afraid to spend a dime because we don't know what's ahead of us.
They're cutting back on the stamps there, and I still have to eat.
If they raise the rent too high, I can't stay here.
I worry a lot about my benefits. I worry because I have no idea where I'll go. I think a lot of us will die suddenly because we'll have too many worries.
I'm, again, going to take a very strong position to protect railroad retirement benefits, to protect Social Security, to protect every other kind of retirement program that people have worked for and that they've earned and that they deserve and that they ought to be able to depend upon.
People say, what have you been doing? Nothing. Looking for a job. What's new? Nothing. I've been looking for a job.
We picked the bills out of a hat to find out who we're going to pay this month.
Right now I'm unemployed, but thank God that my wife is working.
We just get back from a layoff and we try to get caught up, and it's right back onto another layoff again.
I see nothing coming up. It's rough out there, and it's very depressing.
Unfair federal policies are causing record-high unemployment in Minnesota. Mark Dayton will fight to change that. Listen.
An important part of my Minnesota agenda is to improve our state's business climate and put Minnesota back to work. We can do that, but we need to target tax relief to help small businesses expand and grow. We need to provide special economic development incentives to areas that need jobs. We need to provide businesses with the chance to retool and provide the jobs of the future. We need a new national energy policy so that Minnesota can compete with the Sun Belt. If we do that, we can put Minnesota back to work again.
I have nothing left over to save.
The tax cut just did not benefit most people that I know.
I don't call it a cut. I think it's a sham.
And I don't think that's fair. Unfair federal tax policies are hurting Minnesota's middle-income families. Mark Dayton will fight to change that. Listen.
A major part of my Minnesota agenda is to provide real tax relief to middle-income Minnesota families. We can cut taxes for families making less than $50,000 a year if we eliminate the tax advantages that go only to the wealthy and the large corporations and allow them to escape paying their fair share of taxes. If we close these tax loopholes, we'll cut the federal deficit and bring down interest rates and move the Minnesota economy forward again.
At the time when we should be having small class sizes, instead of that, we're laying off teachers. Coordinators are being cut, which means programs suffer.
Vocational education is very important in the high school. It's something that is being eliminated. Some of the special education programs are going to be cut.
I see students losing hope.
And I just feel saddened at what's happening.
No parent likes his children to go through with less than what he had.
Unfair federal cutbacks in education are jeopardizing the future of Minnesota. Mark Dayton will fight to change that. Listen.
An important part of my Minnesota agenda is to restore our commitment to quality education. We need a good educational system to train our children for the jobs of the future, to bring new industry into our state, and to improve our business climate. We also need a good educational system because it's right. No Minnesota child should be denied a good education. No Minnesota child should be denied the opportunity to become all that he or she can be. When I was appointed the commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Economic Development, I worked very hard to strengthen the department.
Mark turned that department around and made it a very functional department of state government.
I tried to create a Department of Economic Development which would work together with community leaders, with
business owners.
He paid attention to what the industry is saying, and that was something we all were very, very impressed with.
I traveled all over the state to see firsthand what the problems are that were facing Minnesota communities.
When we needed him, he came to our assistance. And we couldn't have solved the problem without him.
I set up a division to reach out to Minnesota cities and assist them with new economic development projects.
Mark fully understood the impact of employment, not only on the individual himself, but on the state's economy overall.
I believe that government can play a positive role to enhance the climate for providing jobs and attracting new businesses into a state. As a teacher, as a legislative aide to Senator Mondale, and as an aide to Governor Perpich, as commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Economic Development and president of the Minnesota Project, I've always worked to try to improve the lives of people.
To the students, he was known as one of the people who was accessible. He was there for them when they needed him.
He understands the Senate and how to work effectively within it. If he were elected, as I hope he is, he would hit the ground with his feet running.
In the governor's office, we had a saying, when you got a tough job, give it to Dayton.
He, in a sense, took a new idea and a new organization and made it work.
People that say that Mark Dayton is not experienced just don't know Mark Dayton.
Throughout my life, I've enjoyed working with people and trying to help improve their lives. And I see the Senate as a place of tremendous opportunity to be of service to the people of our state.